Hare Krishna. I'm Satsvarup Das Goswami, and we're going to go on a tour of the Krishna Visionary Garden. You're going to see some strange statues and objects in a beautiful setting of a Wicklow rural area, which is our backyard. But I want to explain to you first what they are, so you can put it in some context of art. Usually we think of statues or art as something very finely done by a craftsman. But of course, there are very primitive traditions also that are thousands of years old, done by Aborigines and tribal people and so on. But among civilized people in the West, in about the last 50 years, there's been a movement that goes under many names, but it's done by self-educated people who don't go to art school. Some of the names are given to this movement are outsider art. There's a French word, art brut, folk art, and these names all have different shades of meaning too. The word outsider art is a pretty good one, marginal art, and it has its own appeal. It's not polished art, but it's usually very fresh and spiritual, done by people often who put together things that they just find, old tires or something they find in the junkyard, and they put it together. Some of them create magnificent things. There are magazines like Raw Vision and books that show some of these things. Even palaces have been created, and huge gardens filled with creatures and creations. So what you're going to see is in that style, and we're going to take a walk to our backyard, which is the Krishna Visionary Garden, and I'll do some explaining of the pieces, and Janmastami, our filmmaker, will capture them. Shall we start? This is the front door to our house, which itself is a bit of an artistic creation. So as soon as you open it, you meet one of our characters. I don't give them names, but this fellow was made mostly out of natural wood that we found and put together and sprayed with paint. He's got an Elmo bag around his shoulder, and I think the impact speaks for itself. I wonder sometimes how the FedEx man and mailman feel when they open the door and meet him. We're starting to get a little reputation around this neighborhood. People talk about those people on the hill who have those many strange creations. We've made many figures like this with these pieces of wood. We just got in a lumber yard in exactly that shape. They're like reject pieces. I didn't saw them or cut them in that way. They were just found that way, and we just nailed them onto boards. This piece of wood, also you'll see a lot of heads made out of that. There are also natural chippings that come off the top of a fence post. When the men make fence posts, that's a little reject piece they have. But we use it for our heads. So it's a simple creation made with acrylic paint and spray paint. As you see, we do have a beautiful natural garden, which one of our neighbors, Krishna created for us by years ago, planting many wild bushes in here and flowers. And now in early August they're starting to bloom. Way back there we see looks like an ancient figure. He's been here 2 years, weathering these storms. It's very hard to keep things outdoors in Ireland, which has one of the highest rainfalls in the world. And it gets very gusty up here, a lot of gale force winds. So we build our characters to last. And it's so charming, I think, to see the mixture of the bushes and see the creatures in there with them. Here's a kind of a biker guy. He's been here a couple of years, weathered a winter, and we don't know how long some of them will last, but we keep making new ones. We call these leprechauns, these little ones that I told you we make from ready-made parts that we get from the lumber yards, and we just assemble them in that way. This, by the way, is called a butterfly bush, and in a few weeks it'll bloom more and more, and actually it'll be filled with butterflies. A few more leprechauns against our wall. We find little clothings for them, hats and things, in thrift stores, and pretty them up in that way. Here's a larger piece. We had a cat house for our cat, but he never wanted to use it, so we turned it into an installation for our visionary garden, and it's more like a bunny hatch now. I'm American, and we're in Ireland, so we have both flags on our house. It's like a real playhouse. One devotee saw it, said it looked like it was going to take off and fly away. There's another more complicated leprechaun, and the others with stylistic differences. This is a larger piece with a little more work done into it, wrapped up with different scarves, chains, ropes, and different things, natural pieces of wood, and of course it's all distorted fashion. But this is raw art. It's not meant to look like Michelangelo or some Greek statue. We just take it the way it is, and don't care if it doesn't look exactly like a real person. again, you can take a look at the beautiful shrubbery, which has come up, and we keep it trimmed by killing the tenacious weeds that keep coming. So here's the entrance to our main garden. It says to Krishna Visionary Garden. In the junkyard, source of many of our things, we found this diversion ahead sign. It's not like we're ripping them off the highway. So there's a double meaning there. The diversion is that it'll be fun. It'll be a diversion for you to go in here. One devotee said we ought to have a sign that said, no stodgy people allowed, or something, because if you're too conservative, you may not appreciate what you'll see. And because we're Krishna followers, we like to put some touches of our religious words in here. Here, Gornitai and Hare Krishna, leprechauns. Here's a juxtaposition. This is a completely natural piece of wood, but he looks, if you look close enough, I saw, he looks like a reptile. So he's juxtaposed on top of the garden sign. So we enter the garden. We have a pebble path and all kinds of odd things as we found them. You'll recognize them, of course, from city life. Different things we've picked up and placed in our garden. We have a special wall here, which is all mounted on a gate that used to be used for cows, keeping cows out. And on this gate, we have a whole array of men, some big, some small, and dressed up. The dressing is not just decorative, but protective. For all the wind and the rain that we get, we like to keep them a little protected. And there's a couple of bigger ones at the end here. Let's come a little closer and look at this one with his Ireland hat. And he's got rather complicated features made out of just sticks of wood and a burlap bag, and in a case like this, a little more work is put into it to make him come alive. Going further down the gate, there's some more figures. You see, he's got a face just made of a dish, a thatched dish, turned upside down, and again, pieces of wood that the lumber yard gives us, and dressed up in a lot of castaway scarves and tied up with ropes, and try to protect him from the rains with a nice big hat. There's two more. This man actually has a raincoat on. And another Ireland fellow. Come over to the front of this piece. It's sort of a major installation of ours that we did recently. Flying machine. it's meant to look like a hot rod or something that might even take off into the air. It's made basically out of a wheelbarrow is the main thing, and then we have a satellite dish for a roof, and then 2 exhaust pipes. I don't know what they really are. They were found in the junkyard. And once we got it together, we filled it up with all little people who we found in thrift shops, little teddy bears and so forth, and colored them. And to make it, to show more that that this machine has the ability to speed, we have these 2 more exhaust pipes way in the back here. Once you start doing this, you start finding all kinds of things. You know what this is? This is something that people put in the roof of their chimney to keep birds from taking a nest in there. So when Baladev, he bought one, and then he bought another one, and the lady was surprised, what are you going to do with these things? And he had to explain that we're kind of mad artists, and we find different uses for things. This is just a work in progress. Don't know what it is. It's going to be something someday. It looks something like a military thing for me now, like a mortar. But it's not made yet. It's just a piece that we found in the junkyard, and one day it'll also become something. We have to wait until the inspirations come. This is a lady. Some hair that was picked up by a friend in I forget what it actually is. It's like rope. She picked it up in Wales. Now, we've made a number of what we call totems, like the American Indian totem poles, and I'll be showing you them. But first, a few statues. Here's another statue. He was created more spontaneously, starting with a wooden stand with a piece of wood up the back, and then I just started putting ropes around him and cloths around him, and then putting little things like this in him, and making some kind of face out of him. So it's mostly natural wood, natural products put together out of the imagination. We call it visionary, or sometimes they call it obsession gardens. Don't follow the rules of ordinary art. We're blessed with some beautiful trees in this garden, mostly beech and ash trees. If you want to try to catch the height and beauty of them, especially at this time of year, covered with ivy. The whole backyard is got about 6 or so beech and ash trees and 1 chestnut tree. That makes the whole place into a setting. Now I'll try to show you some individual pieces. This is a exhaust pipe of a car and what's that called? I think it was a transmission that we found in the junkyard, painted it green, and then found this piece of wood, bought some eyes in a store, and made him into a comic, dangerous-looking reptile. Now back here is really one of our wild creations. A friend picked it up. It's actually a big what do you call it? Fan that was used in a restaurant, and it was later thrown away. So we took it, and then we made these teeth for it out of metal, 2 soccer balls for eyes. And he says, "Aga, the demon, keep away, dangerous, bad breath, help, Krishna." This is from the Krishna book, where there was a great demon, Aga, with a huge mouth, he used to swallow, and his breath was poisonous from all the corpses who had eaten. But Krishna finally killed him. Here's a major piece. He starts with a rejected washing machine. He's got a wheelbarrow that he's actually sitting on, a good London fog raincoat, and his head is an upside-down bucket. So he's sort of a regal kind of fellow. We've given him different names. Lately they call him the tax collector because I have these pieces of turf painted gold on a scale. So they're being weighed there, and he's going to collect the tax. Now I can begin, if you're up with me, to show you our totems, as I said. We haven't put any nails into the actual trees. We didn't want to harm the trees. What we did was find poles, wooden poles, and lean them against the tree, and then with rope tie it against the tree, and then onto the totem we've placed all these different things. A lot of them are these faces that we've gotten from the lumber yard. Almost everything has Vaishnava tilak on it as part of our Vaishnava theme. And then all kinds of whimsical characters. One of my favorite objects of use is rope. One of the devotees, Shilavati, has been a great contributor of going down to the Dublin beaches and coming back with these ropes. These ropes have histories. Some of them may have floated over from England. Some of them may have floated from America or something, washed onto the beaches. And we use a lot of old ropes in our creations. And these are all found on the seashore, these things. And then these are more recent little characters who join the totem. So this totem, he's about 10 feet tall. Here's a smaller one. Built in the same way, with a pole upon which we wrap the things around. Beautiful colored rope. That's natural. I didn't put paint on that. It just came out of the sea like that. And then we put a lot of these wooden totem faces and different decorative things onto them, hats and so on. You see that the path, how the path winds down, and on both sides it's bordered by these sea ropes. Now I'll show you one of our tallest totems. You had to get up on a ladder to do this one. I hope it's not too dark a day for you to pick it up. Mostly all the little faces. Here's the face of Lord Jagannath, Lord of the universe. There's also giving some holiness to a totem. And again, a base of things that just came in from the sea with their wonderful sea-worn characters that only the sea can give itself. One wonders the history of these things. Here's another, well, here's a special leprechaun, Bacta Ireland. But he's actually part of another totem. This totem has quite a few ropes on it and individual characters. Tied on. And this particular one goes all the way around. We have things. Actually, last winter it was so rough that we covered the totems over with plastic so that they would last. Two more totems on this big tree. We gather so many strange things. I think this is a little net for crabs, catching crabs and other nets that we find at the sea. Varieties of ropes and toys. Anything is possible for use. In this case, we did color the sea rope with some yellow spray paint. On the same big tree is another totem. I think this is the tallest of them all. We have a wheelbarrow or a bowl. And lots of sea rope up and up. That looks like it's almost 15 feet high. Just look at these ropes, how thick they are, and the natural beauty of them coming sea-worn. And when they interlace with the thick boughs of the trees, that creates a natural beauty that I don't think an individual artist could do as well as the art of nature and the art of the rope from the sea. Here's a small totem. I put a couple of verses from the Bhagavad Gita out here that I painted roughly. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. Bhagavad Gita 6.30. And then I wrote, a person in Krishna consciousness sees Krishna wherever he turns because he loves Krishna. I felt that was appropriate because one might think, what are all these things? How are they related to Krishna? He calls it a Krishna visionary garden, but I don't see many pictures of Krishna here. But my point is, Krishna is everywhere, in those ropes and the trees and the different totems and everything. You can think of Krishna in everything. And this verse also is appropriate for a garden. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that as an offering to me, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 9:27. Don't forget Krishna. So we had an inspiration to work as artists to build this kind of a garden. And Krishna says, it's all right. This is Krishna consciousness too. Whatever you do, if you offer it to Krishna, go ahead and do it. Just make it an offering to the Lord. So we're hoping that people will see this garden and eventually know that devotees did it. That we're trying to get a feature article in the Raw Vision magazine, that we've had a gallery showing, and people knew that Hare Krishna devotees did it. So it's a kind of breakthrough, instead of only doing Krishna articles the way you see them illustrated in Prabhupada's books. Here's a man and woman. Now I'll bring you to our bus stop. One of our friends found a discarded actual bus stop in Dublin, which we've installed here. And all these folks, we think of them as all queuing up and waiting for the bus that never comes. Maybe someday we'll have a bus here. These are 3 statues that we made some time ago. They're still surviving the weather. He's got a Haribol hatband. This little building here, the devotees made for me as a writing shed. I do my writing in here. I have a nice desk and chair. Using light. And so, as a kind of humorous comment on the writing coutier, we put this sign here that somebody found. Caution, beware of the bull. Meaning the bull that I might write. That's a caution to me. I should just write the truth and don't write any bull. We invite friends. Sometimes we have like parties and invite friends to come and add some little thing of their own here. Tie a scarf on, tie a doll on. Not like I'm the only one who does everything. I don't think you saw this. This is a lady who just had naturally shaped legs. There was nothing carved about that. It was just found that way. So actually she has two heads. But I was really thrilled when I saw the piece that it had such natural legs. Here's a tall tube that we've installed, and we don't know what to do with it yet. We call it our Eiffel Tower. Are we going to paint faces on it? Are we going to hang things on it? It's been here for a few weeks, but we can't figure out what to do with it. But at least it's solidly put into the earth. And this thing here at the bottom, it's some kind of a gas tank or something. It's our strangest new piece, an abstract piece. It doesn't have any people, just lots of color. But I wrote the word Hare Krishna on it. And over here, Hari Bol. So bit by bit these visions have to come. Maybe eventually he'll be part of the tall tower. I don't know how it will all turn out. Somebody will get an idea and say, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? That's how we build things. This turf path leads to a building that's worth looking at. We can step over the rough turf. We're hoping this turf will smooth down eventually. But in here, we have a building that we intend to use as a museum, meaning for pieces that really can't stand the weather. It'll later be cleared out. All this wood will be taken out, and then it'll just have shelves and floor. And there's some pieces already inside the house that just couldn't take it outdoors, and we'll leave them in there. We have a lot of space more to do more projects.